How can you increase your email open rates? Now in this video, I will share with you 5 tips that you could use to increase your open rates. Hi, my name is Andrew and I help businesses write compelling emails that convert prospects into customers. So what does open rates mean? Now let's illustrate this with an example. All right? Let's say you send out 100 emails and 20 of the emails were open. It means they actually clicked on your emails and read them. Now that means your open rate or average open rate would be 20 over 100, which is 20%. Now why is open rate important? Well, if your email never gets open, you will not be able to get your message across, and it will be buried under piles and piles of unopened emails. Now, especially when you consider that the average users receive between 80 plus emails in a day. So what would be an acceptable benchmark for open rates there? Well, it depends, but in general, an open rate of 15 to 25%, depending on the industry that you operate in, would be good enough. Now, the good folks at Smart Insights have compiled some stats on open rates by industry, now which you can check it out. I provided a link below in the description section. So what can you do to increase your email open rates? Now, here are the 5 tips that I promised you earlier that you can use to do that. Here's tip number 1. Your first impression counts. Now, whenever someone subscribes to your list, now they do so with an expectation whether to receive your free report or your free guide, or even some insights that you've promised them before they agree to give you their email address. Now, the average open rate for your welcome email, or basically the first email that they receive from you, is a whopping 91.43% according to Hive.co. And the read rates is 42% higher. That means they actually read your email compared to the average email that you send out. And you need to be aware that the open rates would taper off eventually as they stay longer on your list. Now, which is a natural thing, unless you can consistently send them really good and useful content. Tip number 2, keep your email list clean. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, not everybody who subscribes to your email list will regularly open your email. Now, that's just the way it is. So for every 6 months or so, I would suggest that you go through your list and move those subscribers who did not open any of your emails at all to another list where you can then send them a re-engagement email, or some call it a win-back email. So how do you do that? Well, you can use, for example, an unusual and so-called a pattern interrupt subject line like, hey, should I unsubscribe you? Then in your body copy, you can actually put in, for example, I've noticed that you've not opened most of my emails. Now, maybe my topics are not relevant to you. Can you suggest some topics that may be useful for you or relevant to you? You can then use this email to basically get some feedback from them, and also use this as an opportunity to basically remind them, your purpose of sending this email to them in the first place, why you think you can help them. And finally, to tell them, basically, if they think that this email no longer serves their purpose, which it happens because people move on to other interests and all those things, then invite them to unsubscribe. Because at the end of the day, you will want to have a list of engaged and active subscribers, which leads me to the next tip. Tip number 3, always segment your list. Now, each of your subscribers are unique. They are in different stages of their buyer's journey, or even their stages of awareness. Now, speaking of stages of awareness, there are basically 5. One is unaware. Now, basically, these are the people who are not aware of that they actually face a problem in the first place. The second thing is basically problem unaware. They are aware of the problem, but they're not sure whether there's any solution for it. Then the third one is solution aware. They are aware of the solution that's out there. It's just that they may not know about yours. The fourth one is basically product aware. Now, they're aware of the solution, but they're just not sure or convinced yet that it is for them. And finally, the most aware stage, because at this stage, they know your product or services and are convinced that you can actually solve their problem. Now, they just need a little nudge to proceed to buy. In other words, you got to come up with some irresistible offers, for example, to get them to commit to make that purchase. So the emails that you write should then take them from one stage to another, from unaware to problem aware to solution aware to eventually to product, and finally to the most aware stage. So by properly segmenting your list, now you get to send the right message to the right group of subscribers, and therefore increasing the chances of them opening your email because it is relevant to them. Let's go to tip number 4, your subject lines. Now, each component of your email plays a specific role. For example, your subject line is to get them to open your email, right? And your first paragraph or your body copy, for example, is to guide them or to interest them enough to basically get them to read to the next paragraph and so on. And also to help build that desire or to take that specific action that you want them to take. Now then, your CTA, for example, is to entice them to take that action and click on that link or button. Now, do you know that 47% of email recipients actually open an email based on the subject lines alone? And conversely, at the same time, 69% of email recipients would report email as spam based solely on the subject lines. So your subject lines obviously is very, very important. And they need to invoke some form of curiosity. Make them curious enough to open your email. I have provided in the description section below 47 curiosity-inducing subject lines that you could use. One thing that you should not do, however, is to use spammy words, which could land your email in your subscriber spam folder. I've also included a link where you can download my free compilation of 272 spammy words to avoid. It's available in the description below. Tip number 5, set expectations right. Setting expectations early with your subscribers is important. I mean, if you promise to deliver an email on a certain day, do so, and be consistent with it. Another way is to make sure basically your contents are of high quality, be useful to your subscribers so that you can actually condition your subscriber to look forward to your next email. If you continue to provide value, your subscribers will obviously love it, especially if it's useful to them. If you want to learn more about how to attract your ideal leads, grow your email list, and also your business through email marketing, I would like to invite you to join me for my 3 days email challenge. The link to join is provided in the description box below. I will see you in the next video.